is Francesca Duval and I am from Alchemist Farm and Garden in Northern California. We are recording from the heart of it all. You might hear quail calls, you might hear a rooster call in the background. It's all part of the rich sonic experience of living on a farm. Today I'm going to be talking about colored chicken eggs, and I hope that this video will have something for the chicken keeping beginner all the way to the chicken keeping veteran. So without further ado, dun, da, 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 beautiful colored chicken eggs. The first question I always get from folks who've never seen a dozen like this before is, can I eat them? Followed by, do they taste different? The answer is yes and yes. You absolutely can eat different colored eggs. They're safe to eat, and people don't usually see them in the grocery store because the breeds that are normally laying for large production farms that are servicing most grocery stores around the country are pearl leghorns, which will lay a stark white egg, or many different types of breeds that would lay a lighter brown egg, really high production birds. These are also high production birds, but maybe a few eggs less a week, and so those larger factory farms just don't carry colors like this. I love colored eggs and introducing people to different breeds of chickens that lay colored eggs because I think it helps us connect to our food and ask questions like, well, gosh, if I haven't seen these kinds of eggs before, what's possible? If I can eat these, what is the story behind these eggs? How has the food been treated along the way? And does the taste any different? The taste is really different on colored eggs, and with eggs that have been raised by a person who's keeping chickens in such a way that they're letting them be on pasture and they're getting fresh bugs, they're in the sunshine, fresh clean water. The nutritional benefit of an egg that's created in that way has all the possibilities that an egg can have. An egg is a really nutrient dense food, but if a chicken isn't given all of the right circumstances in which to create that nutrient dense food, then what you're getting is not a nutritionally as optimal egg. So for the healthiest possible egg for your family, going for an egg that's either raised by you in your backyard, and if you don't have that kind of space, then going for eggs that are raised by a friend. Usually when people get the crazy chicken fever, something called chicken math comes in, where they have one breed and then they get another and then they see some other colored eggs, and then before they know it they have a whole chicken farm and a very patient spouse like I have. But having that patient spouse allows me to be able to give this information to you all from the field experience I have of working over all of these different types of breeds. Chickens lay really beautiful colored eggs, as do quail. Quail can lay brown speckled eggs, blue speckled eggs. If you have less space, quail can be a really great option for you to be raising in your backyard. We'll cover that in another video, but I just wanted to show you how fun those eggs look. For chicken eggs, a lot of people will ask, is the taste really different? And I think the taste is really different because it's a richer egg. A lot of times when I'll get just a regular store-bought egg, I don't need to anymore, but when I did back in the day, I would crack the egg and then the yolk would kind of separate out and it wouldn't stay really tall. If I touched it with a fork, it would immediately break. Now I know that that means that the eggs aren't very fresh. If an egg is fresh, the yolk stays really tall and domed, and if you can really poke it with your finger, it means that it has a really good nutrient dense pack inside of it. If you were to incubate that egg, it'd make a really strong chick. It's just a healthier, vital yolk that was created. It's really creamy and almost buttery yolk too. Store-bought eggs, to me, don't have that same kind of flavor. Now, we all do the best that we can. Sometimes we just don't have the space, or we don't have farmers that are near us that can give us yummy eggs. So we do go for store-bought. When I was in college, I did. And I always tried to spend a little bit of extra money to go for cage-free eggs because I wanted to support that kind of treatment of chickens. But after some research, I realized that cage-free actually just means that the chickens are free to roam around inside of a warehouse, but they're never actually out on pasture. So what you want to be looking for if you're buying store-bought eggs is pasture raised as the certification or the labeling on the outside of the eggs, because man, labeling with food packaging can be so confusing sometimes. We don't really know what we're getting. So either growing your own food is always the best because you know what's in it. Getting it from a friend or a local farmer, that's second best because you know that person, you know what they're putting into it. And then past that, educating ourselves on what it says on the outside of the packaging so that you can get the best for your family. So let's say that you're really getting into chicken colors and you're super excited and you want to try and create your own fun colored eggs. You say, gosh, I really love the way these green eggs look. How could I get some of that on my farm? Well, a green egg is created by pairing a blue egg laying breed like this with a really dark egg laying breed like this. And then that will create these kinds of fun greens, all these different fun shades in between. Darkest eggs that you will ever find are laid by the French black copper Marans. The second fun, dark, and eye breed for really speckly eggs come from the Heritage Welsumers. And they're just covered in all sorts of really fun speckles. Pairing those with the blue, like I mentioned before, will give you this kind of fun green. There's many different types of breeds that lay a blue egg out there, and the breed that you choose all depends on the disposition that you'd like. Some are a little more flighty and predator-wise, some make more of pets, so it all depends on what you want in your barnyard because you get to interact with the chickens in any way you want. A lot of times the chickens that lay more of the plain colored eggs, but that are still beautiful, cream, are the most beautiful chickens. These are from our double silver lace Barnevelders, and they look like there's lace on the outside of them. People look at them and think, gosh, is that even really a chicken? Does that exist? And yes, there's so many different amazing breeds of birds out there that have totally different personalities and totally different ways of interacting with people and the land. And it's really fun to see all of that in the different breeds when you have them side by side. And it's fun to expound on all of the different heritage breeds and see what other breeders have selected and cultivated because they're so beautiful. The Golden Laced Orpington also is another one of those breeds. They're huge! In another video, I'll introduce you to one of my favorite roosters on the property who happens to be a Golden Laced Orpington. So, one of my favorite things about genetics and chicken breeding for color, and this is something for someone who's been doing it for a little bit of time, a chicken keeping veteran, is to see what color gene my particular hen is carrying. And what I mean by that is, what color, if I were to breed this green to this green, what color would that create? And so what I like to do is I crack the egg open. So I'm gonna crack this egg for us. Put it on a nice little piece of bark for us. As you can hear, it takes a little bit to crack. I crack the egg open, and I just cracked it pretty vigorously so I broke the yolk, and I look at the inside of the egg for what color is on the inside. The outside is green, but the inside is blue. And I love this kind of color, the outside green, the inside blue. What a contrast with the yellow of the yolk. What I like to do is peel this little membrane off inside to be able to reveal that color a little bit easier and see, yes, this particular hen is carrying the blue egg laying gene. So if I were to pair her with another blue egg laying breed, she'd probably just make another blue egg or something interesting in that spectrum. If I bred her to a dark egg laying chicken, like that French black copper Marans I showed you, I would probably get an even darker green egg. Genetics and playing around, tinkering with different breeds of chickens is so much fun. Again, because it connects us to our food, gets us to ask questions about how it was raised. How can we raise it even better? How can we do better for our families or for the people around us? I also love quail for that reason too, because the eggs are so small. 3 quail eggs equals 1 chicken egg, and that's really great for kids. They're perfect little bite sizes for people to enjoy. So no matter what kind of breed or species you have in your yard, I think chickens, quail, duck, they all have a place inside of the homestead or in the barnyard if you have space for it. I'm so excited to be connecting with Kellogg Garden on the greater network of homesteaders and educators here, because I'm all about connecting people to their food and to the land and closing the loop, whether you're harvesting your own birds for meat or just keeping them for eggs. There's something so magical about growing your own protein that way, using the fertilizer from the birds to help amend the soil, using the vegetables from the garden scraps to feed the chickens. Again, less things put in the landfill. Chicken eggs also are these perfectly packaged vessels They don't need any kind of packaging. You could hard boil this and carry it in a backpack if you're going camping. And then the shell would be fully biodegradable and compostable. No need for plastic. Nature is so perfectly designed when we just work with it. Egg color is fascinating in the chickens, and it's created in different ways. These dark colored eggs from the French black copper Marans, they create the dark color at the end of the egg laying process. This darkness is actually a bloom on the outside of the egg, which you can see here. It can be scraped off or washed off. The hen in this case had scratched some of it off, and if you were to rub it really vigorously with a cloth, it would come off. Now we make sure that all of our nesting boxes are really clean so that eggs can be laid clean, so that we don't have to rub any of the bloom off of our eggs, because that's what protects them. This bloom, not necessarily just the color on the outside of the eggs, but every egg has this protective barrier that almost feels like, not chalk, but powder. It just feels like powder on the outside of the egg. When you handle enough eggs and collect eggs, you'll get used to feeling it. That's the protective bloom. You want to keep that intact because it keeps the eggs safe from any kind of microbes that are trying to get into them. If the bloom is intact, you don't need to refrigerate your eggs right away. Long, long ago, before the time of refrigeration, people would keep their bloom intact on the eggs, and they would store their eggs in straw in their root cellars to get them through the times when eggs weren't being laid in the winter, and they could have eggs all through the year. They'd stockpile in the summer when the eggs were being laid really, really strong. If you do have to wash the bloom off of your eggs because there was some soiling happening in the nesting boxes, or it was really muddy and rainy, then just make sure to refrigerate them right away, and then they'll be safe. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and a little introduction of me as an educator. I look forward to chatting with you some more about a whole world of topics of chicken keeping, quail keeping, and I look forward to possibly doing a question and answer with you all soon if you have more questions for me about what we talked about today. Hope you have a wonderful day.